Okay, let's dive right into this explainer by confronting you with what I think is the ultimate financial dilemma. I want to test your instincts right out of the gate here. So get ready, because the option you instinctively lean toward, well, it might just reveal exactly how your brain is hardwired to process wealth and growth.
Imagine someone walks up and offers you a deal. Option A, they hand you $10 million right now, today, no strings attached. Or option B, they place just one single grain of rice on the first square of a chessboard, and then they double it on every subsequent square until all 64 squares are filled. So, which would you choose? Be totally honest with yourself here. If you're like most of us, you probably just grab the cash in your head. I mean, it sounds so obvious, right? Guaranteed millions today versus, what, some rice on a board.
And hey, who can blame you? $10 million carries a massive amount of psychological weight. You see all those glorious zeros, and your mind immediately goes to the houses, the cars, the absolute financial freedom. It's undeniable. But over the next few minutes, we are going to completely dismantle that bias. Because what if I told you that choosing the rice would actually make you richer than kings, emperors, and billionaires combined? Yeah, no joke.
Section 1. The Chess Inventor's Trap, an Ancient Lesson in Wealth.
So the story goes that thousands of years ago in ancient India, this brilliant mathematician presented a king with a brand new game, chess. The king was absolutely blown away, so much so that he offered the inventor literally any reward he desired. But the inventor made this seemingly ridiculous, foolish request. He said place 1 grain of rice on the first square and continue doubling the amount on every square until all 64 are filled. The king actually laughed out loud. He assumed he was getting the absolute bargain of the lifetime. After all, rice is practically free, right?
Which brings us to Section 2, the math of compounding, and really, why our brains completely deceive us.
See, the king was about to learn one of the most astronomically expensive math lessons in human history. The core issue here is that most of us are wired for linear thinking. Our brains just expect growth to happen in a nice, predictable straight line, 1, 2, 3, 4, just adding one step at a time. It feels normal. It feels safe. But the inventor wasn't asking for linear growth. He was asking for exponential compounding. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. Things move way faster. But, and here's the ultimate trap, even at step 8, 128 grains of rice doesn't look scary at all. Compounding looks dangerously slow and boring at the beginning, and that is exactly how it tricks us.
Let's actually walk across the first half of that chessboard. The progression feels, well, entirely unthreatening. Square 1, a single grain. The king feels absolutely nothing. By square 10, we're at 512 grains. Still tiny. Even by square 20, it's just over 500,000 grains, which is maybe what, a few sacks of rice? The king is sitting there thinking he's a genius negotiator. It really isn't until square 30, when we hit 536 million grains, that the king might finally sit up and say, okay, now we're talking. But notice how wildly unimpressive the entire first half of the board is. It creates this very dangerous illusion of a slow, totally manageable pace.
But watch what happens the second we cross over into the back half of the board. The math just scales violently. By square 40, boom, we jump to 549 billion. 10 squares later, square 50, we aren't even dealing with billions anymore. We've rocketed to 562 trillion. And by square 60, 576 quadrillion grains of rice. It is literally mind-bending. The growth becomes completely explosive, and get this, there are still 4 squares left to go.
Section 3. Translating rice into wealth. The shocking final reveal.
So what actually happens at the very end of the board? Honestly, nothing quite prepares you for the final tally. The number that completely broke the king's treasury. Here it is. 18 quintillion, 446 quadrillion, 744 trillion grains of rice. I mean, wow. This number is so astronomically large, our linear human brains literally struggle to even comprehend it. If you convert that to weight, we are talking hundreds of billions of tons. That is far more rice than existed in the entire kingdom, and honestly, probably the entire world. The king promised an absolutely unimaginable fortune simply because he completely underestimated exponential growth.
Now, translating this ancient chessboard into your modern-day finances reveals a very familiar concept: compounding. It's simply when your money earns money, right? And then those earnings go out and earn more earnings, creating this unstoppable, exponential snowball effect over time. It is exactly why Albert Einstein allegedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. It's a true game changer.
Think about a pretty standard investment of, say, $500 a month. At first, it feels remarkably slow. Year 1 is not impressive at all. Year 2, nothing special. By year 5, you might honestly be wondering if it's even worth the sacrifice to your paycheck. This perfectly mirrors those deceptive, boring early squares of the chessboard. But if you wait long enough, your single-year gains will eventually completely eclipse all of your early contributions combined. It's wild.
Let's put this exponential math to the test with a real-world clash between two friends. We'll call them Mike and David. So Mike starts investing at age 25, putting in $300 a month. His big advantage here is 10 extra years of time. David, on the other hand, waits until he's 35 to start, but he invests double the cash, $600 every single month. Instinctively, our linear thinking tells us David is absolutely going to crush Mike here, right? Because he's throwing twice as much capital at the problem.
But let's look at the actual result. Mike wins. And he doesn't just win, he wins decisively. Despite investing literally half as much money out of his own pocket, Mike gave compounding an extra 10 years to work its magic. Time, not capital, is the secret ingredient here. Just like the chessboard, this proves that it's those earliest squares that dictate the sheer size of the final explosion at the end of the board. The more squares you can give yourself by starting early, the vastly larger your final result is going to be.
Section 4. Master your personal chessboard, and why most people quit way too early.
Now that we really understand the math, you have to ask, why do so many of us fail to actually reap these rewards in our own investing or businesses or even just daily habits? Well, it usually comes down to this tragic cycle. You start a new habit, but the initial results are agonizingly slow. I mean, it's just a few tiny grains of rice. Because it doesn't look or feel like it's working, you get discouraged and you quit. And ultimately, you completely miss the exponential explosion. Whether it's investing for 6 months, hitting the gym, or learning a new skill, people constantly abandon the board during that unimpressive first half. They mistake a slow build-up for absolute failure. Actually, scratch that. It's more like they mistake the foundation for the whole building.
So this chessboard parable leaves us with some truly undeniable truths. Number 1, never underestimate small beginnings. A single grain holds unimaginable power. 2, consistency always beats intensity. 3, time is absolutely your greatest asset. 4, patience is what actually creates wealth. And finally, remember that the biggest rewards always arrive near the very end. People will look at massive success at Square 64 and they'll call it an overnight success, completely missing the decades of early compounding that made it happen. Every single dollar you save, every book you read, every workout you complete, that is a grain of rice on your personal chessboard.
The king looked at a single grain of rice and just saw something insignificant. But the inventor, he looked at that exact same grain and saw an entire empire. The math is undeniable, guys, but unlocking it requires you to take action, and it requires extraordinary patience. So I want to leave you with this final provocative question. Are you willing to place your first grain of rice today and patiently let time do the rest? Start small, keep doubling, and whatever you do, do not quit before the magic happens.